Hi, I'm Rob Buckingham. Welcome to Bayside TV. Today on the show we have guest artist Nathan Plumridge, and we look at a practical topic that affects everyone every day.
How are you with managing your money? Do you find yourself short of cash and constantly breaking into your savings? Money is an important tool, but if you don't have any, you really limit yourself. So, how can you effectively manage your money?
Well, that's what we're looking at today on Bayside TV, and to help us, Scott Pape, the barefoot investor.
Hi guys, how are you?
Really well.
Good, I see you've got shoes on.
Yeah, I decided that I better put shoes on.
Yeah, it's cold.
Why the barefoot investor?
Look, it was all about sort of kicking off your shoes and treading your own path. So when I first started learning about money when I was in university, what I found when I started to get interested in it was that most of the books and the information was directed at older people, and there was nothing for younger people. So I wanted to create something that was really aimed at young school leavers, people leaving who needed the advice then, not when they were sort of 65.
Sure, just the basics.
Yeah, so sort of kick off your shoes and tread your own path. It wasn't about driving a big BMW and trying to be someone you're not. It was about using your money to do the things that you're really passionate about.
That's great. So it doesn't refer to a time when you couldn't afford shoes or anything like that?
No, it does not.
Okay, brilliant. Sandra Cavallo, good to have you on today as well.
Great to be here too.
Fabulous.
Thanks, Rob.
And of course, Christy B.
Great to be here.
Yeah, wonderful. Today we're looking at how can I effectively manage my money, and kind of as a bit of an icebreaker, I want to just kind of ask you a question. What did your parents teach you about money? Let's start with you, Sandra.
Well, being a daughter of Sicilian migrants, my parents definitely taught me to save, like from day dot. Come out of the womb, save your money. Basically, everything I could do is, to put money aside for the future. That was the main focus.
For the future or for a rainy day?
Both, rainy day and future. I mean, my parents don't spend money easily, so I had that drilled into me really.
Did you hear their advice?
Yeah, pretty much, but I will spend more money than they would probably.
Right, yeah. Okay. What about you, Scott?
I think my parents came from the country and they really instilled in me the value of a buck, the value of a hard work, and that's something that has sort of kept me really well right throughout my career.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Christy?
Well, my parents were very big in giving to other people. They would, unbelievably generous. And then my dad would be also big on saving, So giving and saving sort of went hand in hand as I grew up. But I sort of got a little bit of the giving out of, I'd prefer to give than to save.
Yeah, yeah. Which is good because you married someone who kind of balances you up in that,
Yeah.
So I like to save. I like to give as well, but, I think...
Yeah. The kids come to me for the money.
That's right.
All the reins.
That had to be said. What about some of the common mistakes that people make in managing their money, Scott? What do you see?
My view is that managing your money is really 20% knowledge, as in the maths, the interest rates, doing the budgets and those sorts of things, but it's 80% behaviour, and it's the behaviours that people really sort of look past. So that idea that was drilled into you that you have to save, you save first, and then you give, and then you spend wisely, they're behavioural traits. So I work with a lot of schools and a lot of organisations, AFL players, lots of people, but it's the behaviours that are taught to us by our parents and that we learn along the way that really determine how successful you will be with money, not how smart you are at maths or how if you read the financial newspapers every day.
Yeah. So what do you see as some of the biggest mistakes then behaviourally that people would make?
Well, I mean, I think that the first one is spending more than they earn.
Right.
That's the easiest way to go broke, and borrowing and believing that tomorrow is going to be better than the past. And I don't mean that to be not optimistic, it's just that a lot of people believe that if they don't focus on something, it'll all turn out in the end. So not planning and being over-optimistic about what's going on.
Sure.
And is it a bit of a mindset too? I mean, we counseled somebody recently who was distraught. They were in debt and it was like, the end of the world. And I'm thinking, how can we help them? What can we do? And when I found out what they meant, they had a mortgage. Not even as much as our mortgage. And I'm busy thinking, how can I help them? Because the way they were sounding was like this was the worst thing that they could possibly have.
They're both in tears.
Both in tears, like desperate. And I'm going, is that maybe we should feel like that if we've got any debt? I'm saying to Rob, maybe we should actually be going, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do that. We've got a massive debt. Not massive, but do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm very much the anti-debt guy, whereas a lot of people talk about good debt and bad debt and how you have to borrow money to get ahead. My view has always been the sort of advice that my grandfather gave me, only I keep my teeth in, and that is that you really want to try and pay down as much of your debt as you can and have a good solid savings base behind you. But I think a lot of the mistakes that we make, the ultimate one, is that we compare ourselves to other people. And my thing isn't, it's not about how wealthy you are, it's about feeling safe and secure. And one of the things that we've found here in Australia is that we've got some of the highest levels of household debt in the world. So we're very wealthy, but we're all in a lot of debt. And debt tends to make you feel unsafe and insecure. So
why do you think generationally that's changed? Why are we facing so much debt now compared to years ago? Or household debt? Yeah, well,
I think primarily what's happened is we've all borrowed money, more and more money, to get into housing. And I've been one of the few people that have said this is madness, that young people are spending $500,000 to get into their first home. And for me, I think the banks have done very well out of it. We've all borrowed up. In many instances, we've taken the growth or the increase of the property price and spent it on things. And sort of the view that I have now is that I think that those days are sort of over. And now we're coming into what's known as a bit of a debt hangover, where we actually have to pay that money back. So I think as society we've gone to borrow more, to consume more. We're more a consumerist culture.
And maybe consuming, like one of the things we were talking about the other day, like when we moved into our first home, we did borrow. My parents gave us a small amount for a deposit, and then we made a loan. But we didn't have the money to put our floor covering down. So we had boxes, cardboard boxes opened down. Then when BHP closed down, we got their carpet, rolled it out. Like, we had second-hand everything. And even when we moved into our current home, until we could afford to do certain things, we had a mortgage at a certain rate, but anything on top of that, anything, landscaping or anything, we saved for it.
We're talking about that's the mindset and that's the behaviour that I was alluding to, is that now we all see the ads of no deposit, no worries, you can pick the carpets, you can go to a chain store and deck it all out. And what I find in my job is I have literally thousands of young people come to me after that, where two incomes sometimes become one, they have to feed three, and it's that forward planning that a lot of people just don't do.
How do they manage that debt and all of that kind of thing?
Because a lot of their friends are doing it at the same time.
So just to clarify, sorry, Sandra, just to clarify a point, when you say about that idea of good or bad debt, like if you're getting into the property market and it is something that you can service, is that a different debt in your mind than somebody going out and buying a car or going on a holiday?
I think the most wonderful thing that young people can do is to buy a home. But my view is that you need a 20% deposit. And you need to have saved a 20% deposit. If mum and dad give you the 20% deposit, you don't qualify for the Debt Olympics.
Wow, okay.
You need a 20%
actually have to learn
deposit.
to save.
You need to have, even though the bank doesn't need it, and they'll say that's fine, what I want people is, real estate agents say, location, location, location. We've all heard that. For me, it's safety, safety, safety. So we want a young couple to have a 20% deposit, and we want to make sure that we factor in 10% interest rates, and we factor in it on one wage, because generally what happens is...
So worst case scenario, in other words.
Worst case scenario, if not, just rent and save.
OK, fantastic. Great advice. After the break, Campbell Vandersloot gets some money tips on another edition of Street Talk here on Bayside TV.
In such a materialistic world, money can just slip through your hands. So how do you manage your money? Give us one tip of how you manage your money.
I don't, and that's a massive problem.
Do you have any plans to change that?
I set up a savings account the other week. Currently has a balance of $0. So it's going pretty well.
I just try to make sure that I don't buy anything that I don't need, Actually, most days I try not to carry money with me because I know if I have it in my pocket, I'll spend it.
Pretty much just having a bit of money there, having no bills, and just going travelling, doing stuff when I want to do it.
I think you have to put away a little bit every pay. I'm not the biggest angel at doing that, but I think it kind of saves you some stress when the bill comes in quarterly.
Mum.
Interesting.
Yeah.
She's the banker.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really manage my money. I don't know.
I probably don't manage it all that well. I don't have credit cards. That's the best way to manage it, I think.
Give us one tip on how you manage your money.
I guess I just don't spend. Yeah. Yeah, good things to do is probably not go out so much, and things like eating out and that sort of stuff.
I'm really not the best person to give tips on managing money because I'm not the best person at doing it myself. So maybe just kind of break down a budget for weekly costing, and that's most probably the best way to go about it.
On Bayside TV, we're looking at how to effectively manage our money. Is that a good cross-section of people?
That is you've actually hit it. That's what I deal with. I've dealt with for the last 10 years.
It's tragic.
Not one person mentioned the B word, budget.
No.
Not one of them.
No. Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I find that just in talking with young adults and counselling them, that they don't think about tomorrow. They actually don't think about saving money and thinking about what they want to do with their future. It's almost because buying properties seems so huge. Oh, well, it will just happen one day, but when? When will it actually happen if they don't actually save? And I don't think parents actually help the situation either. I think a lot of
parents...
Well, I think a lot of parents actually hand out stuff to kids too soon, too easy, rather than giving them an opportunity. Okay, if you want this, save it. If they're staying at home, particularly, I don't know if you find young adults are staying home much longer.
Absolutely.
Well, put money aside. Put money aside to save up for a property, or
In fact, I would almost make that a codicil. If our girls, I mean, we would need to agree on this, but if our girls wanted to stay at home longer, it would be for that purpose.
Yep.
It would be that we would be helping them put aside money for a deposit.
Yeah, of all the people that I've seen, that there is a trend that people are living at home longer. I think the average age is about 27 years old now.
Late 20s, yeah.
And the people that I counsel with money in that age group, they haven't been helped. In many instances, and I've done a lot of work on this, the people that have stayed at home are in no better financial situation than the people that actually left and did it on their own.
Yep.
But there's some really life skills that you learn from age 18 to 27.
Absolutely.
I said there is no amount of money that you can save where eating 2-minute noodles and scrimping down to your last dollar. It teaches you those character building skills that
so true.
You don't get if you're living at home with mum and dad.
Absolutely.
Right. Why is it you think that people don't effectively manage their money? What are the hindrances to this?
I don't think that we've been taught about it at a school level age. I mean, we learn lots of really life building skills in schools, but the one thing that we all will have to deal with, regardless, all of us, will be managing our money, and we haven't really been taught that. We're starting to do it now with the government, which is great, but there's a whole generation that haven't learned anything about money. And where do they learn it? They learn it from banks, and they learn it from marketers who are much better at marketing to us than we are.
But surely you're also learning it at home. I mean, I didn't learn about money in school, to be honest. I learnt it from my parents, watching my parents, and they're the role models.
Yep.
And interestingly enough, when your parents are managing money effectively, that's what you tend to adopt later on in life.
You have to listen to your parents, though, don't you? I mean,
or you can go the complete opposite. If your parents are frugal, you can actually go, it's like anything, isn't it? You can go the complete opposite.
Well, if parents aren't actually... if they're not spending money wisely, then they're not good role models for the child.
But if they are, and then this is what we've seen, they save up this great inheritance for the second generation. I mean, businesses, second generation, they get money in their hands, they don't follow the principles, and it goes.
Well, the other thing is that kids generally, I've found, don't really learn by listening, they learn by seeing. And one of the things, some of the research we've seen is parents are going through the shops, putting things into the trolley, and then the checkout lady says, "Would you like cash with that?" So the money comes through, it's all on plastic. So we don't see money coming through.
Never seen money being handed over.
That's a different thing as well.
I said to our 4-year-old one day, I said, "I'm sorry, sweetheart, we just don't have, there's no money today." And she said, "Well, you can just go across to the hall and get it." And I said, "Well, the man's not in a good mood in there." And she looked in the next time and I said, what are you doing, sweetheart? And she said, I'm just saying if the man's in a good mood. You know, it's like, where does that money come from?
Yeah, well, I guess that's a part of the effect of living in a plastic society, you know. Everything's just a little card. They're never actually handling cash and what that actually means to the hip pocket as well.
And the cash finishes because the wallet's still full of the plastic cards, even if the balance is spent.
And the next thing will be sort of digital money, so paying for things on our phones, paying for things on Facebook. That's the way things are going. And when money doesn't have any meaning, it's not tangible, there's not physical notes.
It's kind of there, isn't it?
Same sort of thing. So that's why I always try and encourage people, if you're trying to get on top of your money, to do the $20 note challenge, which is get all the money that you're going to spend on $20 notes, see it physically in your hands. It's a lot harder to spend money when you've got the notes there. It's much easier to play with plastic.
So are you against credit cards?
I don't have a credit card myself, personally. I deal with a lot of people like AFL footballers and very high net worth people, and I say, if I don't have a credit card, you probably don't need to either. Now, I always pay... in the past, I've had one and I've paid it off, but I see no reason to have one. Credit card rewards generally are a con. They cost you $100 or so to keep the annual membership. You have to spend about $13,000 to $15,000 on your credit card just to get the benefit of the annual fee. So for me, I would much rather pay with a Visa debit card, so it's my own money, so I don't owe anyone.
Wow, okay, great advice. So a bit of plastic surgery on the old...
A little bit of plastic surgery is always a good
cards.
thing. The easiest way to go broke is to have those credit cards. That's where the banks make their most money.
Yeah,
Oh,
don't doubt that for a moment.
The way the interest is calculated is, I would say, close to extortion. In that you are charged interest on what is left, not on what you've spent if you've gone over. And I just think that's criminal. And yes, it's in the fine print, but...
Who reads the fine print?
You know,
yeah, exactly.
We've looked at kind of the whole nurture side of things, like what we learn from our parents, or in my case, don't learn. My dad was always talking to me about, you know, save, buy a house, and I so wish I had listen to him and learn from his advice, but of course you know everything when you're 18 to 21, whatever. But how much of bad management or good management of money is part of our nature?
Look, I mean, I think that it all goes back to teaching young people or even children about money. And there's often parents will say, I don't want my little kids to learn about money. They're too young to know about that.
Yes, don't bother them, keep them innocent.
But it comes back to that whole behavioural issue, and I think we all know that behaviours are taught very young and they're ingrained very young. So that idea of having a giving jar, having some money that you work for, that you get paid for, even if it's just a few things around the house, but something to give, something to save towards a goal, and something to spend, I think is really important. And you'd be surprised at how many 28-year-olds I know who have very good degrees that can't get that sorted.
Wow, and they're three very basic principles, aren't they?
They are.
Even I can remember that.
Well, we were just laughing.
Give, save, and sorry, what was the other one?
Spend, save, and give.
But it's funny because I have a differing opinion from Rob on this. I actually think that the children's pocket money is dependent upon them doing several chores.
Absolutely.
And then they can earn more on top of that. Because I said to Rob, where in the world, just for breathing, do they pay you? Because I'd like to know about that place.
Centrelink.
Well, here's the deal. I said to our 14-year-old one day, I said, okay, because she said, I just want to have amount of money that I know every week that I'm going to get, even if it's only $5. So I said to her, so you're telling me that I can give you the opportunity to earn up to $30 if you do set chores, but you're saying you don't want that, you want $5 that you can rely on. And I said, you are freaking me out. That's a welfare mentality.
It is. It is. If you don't work, you don't get paid. And so my view is always that if you can try and instill that work ethic, that's another behavioural attitude that's really going to help people through.
Before we go, one tip on how to best manage your money.
Well, the goal of home ownership is a big one for young people, and it can be an unattainable goal. So what I would suggest, though, is a 20% deposit, factor in 10% interest rates, and try and get a first home saver account. They can really help get you into your home a lot sooner.
OK, that's good for Australians.
Good for Australians. The first home saver account, they pay about a 23% rate of return.
That is good. That is very good. Sandra, one tip?
I would suggest opening up a savings account that a portion of your pay goes to and you cannot touch, so that you have got funds put aside all the time.
You can put it in but not get it out.
I would say that just because your salary goes up $50 a week, your expenses don't have to. So put that money somewhere else because you didn't have it the week before.
Cool. Wise
Let's see
advice. After the break, we have guest artist Nathan Plumridge performing, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Bayside TV. I'd like to thank my guests today, the barefoot investor, Scott Pape.
Thanks.
Been great to have you on. Sandra Cavallo.
Thank you, Rob.
And, of course, Christy B.
Yeah, that will be me. It's been wonderful. I've loved it.
It has been. It's been a great show. Now performing his song, Hello. This is Nathan Plumridge.
Hello, sunshine. It's good to see you again. You've seen your share of nights, but they ain't got the best of you.
Hello, future, you're brighter than I expected. Here's to harvesting good seed and good friends.
Oh, I look around, look at all of the good things happening. Oh, I look around, look at all of the good things happening. Lord, I know you're at work, and I know that I'm blessed. Hello, darling, can't wait to meet you, my friend. Though we've waited so long for you, I'll wait some yet. Hello, future, you're brighter than I expected. Here's to harvesting good seed and good friends. Oh, I look at all of the good things happening. Oh, I look at all of the good things happening. Lord, I know you're at work, and I know that I'm blessed.
Lord, I know you're at work, and I know that I'm blessed.
Lord, I know you're at work, and I know that I'm blessed. Lord, I know you're at work, and I know that I'm. Hello, sunshine, it's good to see you again. You've seen your share of nights, but they ain't got the best of you. Oh, I look at all of the good things happening. Oh, I look at all of the good things happening. Lord, I know you're at work, and I know that I'm blessed. Lord,